Hey everyone, how's it going today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and Stranger Things 3 just hit Netflix a couple days ago, and I have made my way through it. I don't know about you, but it was a great, grand experience if you watched it. That one scene in the finale had me rolling with laughter in more ways than I could possibly imagine. And the fact that it worked in the way that it did was hysterical to me. So this video is all about my predictions, my thoughts for what's going to come in Stranger Things 4. From my understanding, Stranger Things Season 4 is going to be the final season, and it makes a lot of sense. It really does. I mean, how much more can you put these childrens through in mid-1980s Hawkins, Indiana, right? We know that certain things have happened, and I'm going to talk about that. So there's spoilers in this video. There's 100% spoilers. So if you have not seen Stranger Things Season 3, it's 8 episodes. You can go through it in a night. You probably will. So pause this, go watch that, come back, and let's talk about it. So first things first, where is the story going to go now? The gate's been closed for the second time. The Russians have been run out of Hawkins. The key was destroyed. Hopper is dead. 11 is moved out of town. Joyce and Will and Jonathan have also moved out of town. Where is it they can go? I was watching the season 2 finale, and it gets to the end, and I'm like, look, or season 3 finale. I get to the end, I'm like, I know that there's another season coming. I know this, but this felt like a series finale. When Joyce moved out of her home, when she left her home, it felt like a series finale. So the question then becomes, where is there to go? So I do have some thoughts on that one. I do. So essentially, I think what's going to happen is it's going to pick up down the road. This season took place 6 months after the events of the last season. The last bit of the episode was 3 months after what happened in Hawkins at Starcourt Mall. And so everyone is getting ready to move on. I think the boys are going to be going into high school. I think they're still in middle school at this point, so they're going to be moving into high school. 11's going to be in high school. Will's going to be in high school together someplace else. Jonathan will be doing something, probably with photography, maybe with another local newspaper, being an intern and making some money to help pay the mortgage. And of course, something's going to bring them back. The gate is going to have to open. And I think it is going to boil down to one particular thing. Only one thing is going to bring all of them back to Hawkins at least one time. And that is going to be opening the gate to get back Hopper, because Hopper is going to be alive. Hopper is going to be alive for a multitude of reasons. One, we never saw him die. We never saw him die. We saw the other Russian scientists get obliterated when the key exploded. And we didn't also see any of the Russians getting arrested by the Americans led by Paul Reiser when they stormed that underground facility underneath Starcourt Mall. We never saw any of that. So we have no idea if Hopper went through the gate or got sucked in or anything like that. We know Hopper is going to be alive because that just seems to make the most amount of sense, right? And I think that is what they're going to have to do in order to bring back everyone to Hawkins for the final stand against the Demogorgon. Now, if you watch the little post-credit scene or mid-credit scene at the end of season 3, they go to Russia and they grab a prisoner out of a cell and they drag him down to this caged room. They open it up and a Demogorgon comes out from the first season and eats the guy, showing us that they did find a way to enter into the Upside Down. They did find a way to finally complete it on their side, even though the Hawkins situation maybe blew up. They were able to figure it out from their to reverse engineer everything, and they're able to do that. But there was one little thing there. When they go to open one of the doors, the guard says, "No, not the American." And if you go and you watch season 3, when they talk about Hopper is always referred to as the American. So that could be the American. That could be Hopper that they pulled out of the Upside Down, and they drug him back out and they have him locked up all the way in Russia, and no one knows where he's at. Everyone thinks that he's dead. That could be a thing. I don't think it is. My theory is this, because at the end of season 3, when Joyce and Murray were getting were trying to run away after exploding the key, they were stopped by the Americans, by the soldiers, and Murray throws his hands up and says, "We are American, we are American, we are American." We don't see him again, which I thought was weird. There was no final scene for Murray. I thought there should have been, to be fair, but there wasn't a final scene for Murray. So what does that mean? I think that he was recruited by Paul Reiser and by the government to head into Russia because he's fluent in Russian, to head into Russia to see exactly what they were up to. I think he's going to be, because he's also a conspiracy theorist who's been compromised. So now he's probably going to end up working for the government in order to find out more, since he just now learned about what was happening underneath Hawkins all this time with the Demigorgon, with the Upside Down, with L, with the Russians, with everything. He now knows it. So he's the type of guy who's going to probably want to seek out that information. And what better way than to work with the government in order to do that? And I think they caught him trying to break in to see what they know. Now, I could be wrong, and that could be Hopper. It's going to be either Murray or it's going to be Hopper. I think they're letting people believe that it's Hopper for right now, and it probably maybe will be him. But we know he's ultimately going to be alive. And I think, or he's going to be trapped in the Upside Down, and 11 is going to be able to find that out. So then she's going to want to go back to Hawkins as a way to find a way to open the gate to go in to rescue Hopper. It just seems to make the most amount of sense that season 3 is going to boil down to saving Hopper from the Upside Down and him and Joyce finally going to Enzo's in order to have that date. That to me says what's going to be probably the finale is going to be what season 4 is all about, is rescuing him and giving everyone their proper finales. I want to see Erica play a bigger part. I liked Erica quite a bit in the season. I don't think she's going to have she's going to definitely be a key part because she's definitely a nerd. At the end, they gave her all the D&D boxes. So I think she's going to join their party and play with them in that world. And that's going to be good. And I think Robin's going to be a big part, considering that she really helped crack a lot of the code at the beginning part of the season when finding out that the Russians were in Starcourt Mall. And I think that ultimately is going to be a big part, as well as her and Steve Harrington and what is clearly a budding romance. I know they insinuated that she was lesbian, but they never actually came out and said it. Just that she was attracted to a girl. And they never even came out to say whether or not she's bisexual. But at the very end there, when she was talking with Keith, the video store manager, and she was basically saying that, there would be many girls going to the video rental store, all to check out Steve the Hair Harrington. She, was looking at him, and there's clearly love there. And that's going to be something that's going to be interesting as well, because Steve accepted her for when she told him that she didn't, that she was liking the other girl. He was all for it. They still really good friends. They care about each other quite obviously. And that, I think, is going to blossom into a relationship that is going to be very interesting to see how the internet reacts to that when that time ultimately comes. I do think that Susie Q is going to be a big part of season 4. I think introducing that character, and her and Dustin are going to be that next cute couple, considering the never ending story bit, which I still think is probably one of the funniest things I've seen all year. I was literally crying from laughing so hard at that scene. I think she's going to play a big part. I think Max and Lucas are still going to be together. Of course, Mike and 11 are going to be there. And Will, they kind of insinuated that Will was gay and coming to terms with the sexuality. They kind of insinuated that. But we don't know yet. We don't know. That could have just been, he has been maybe trapped in adolescence for quite some time, because of the whole going to the underground, going to the Upside Down, everything from the previous season with having the Mind Flayer in him and using him. He just wants to chill and play with his friends. But the way they kind of situated it is that maybe he's coming into his own and he's realizing that he doesn't like girls in that way, which is perfectly fine. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out, if that storyline goes anywhere at all. What I would like to see happen is Paul Reiser to come back. I'd like to see him to come back in order to help lead the charge to save Hopper. I want to see more from I think as a way to incorporate episode 7 of season 2, when they went to Chicago for that whole episode no one liked, and we meet 11's sister. I think in order to reopen the gate, 11's going to have to reunite all of the other ones in order to collectively use their power to crack open that gate, go in, get Hopper, and then reseal it. Because I think that is going to be a factor of it. I think they're going to introduce more people with powers into this for that specific reason. I thought they were going to do that this season. I have to say that I'm very happy that they didn't, because it felt like a much tighter, simpler story, handling the Mind Flayer and handling the Russians. Even though the Russians part felt a little bit kind of all over the place, it still worked out well in the long run. And again, the whole season was like 80s Tropes, the television show, which was fantastic. When it comes to Nancy and Jonathan, I don't know. Is there anything really that they do? I mean, they work well when they start investigating things, but like they didn't have a lot to do this last season, and I wouldn't mind to see them get more. But I personally like to see everyone in the group. I think when the groups are together, that's when they're the strongest. And then they've been mixing up the pairing a little bit and moving everyone different directions, which I think works out well. Obviously, Dustin and Erica have become probably a pretty big fan favorite based upon the My Little Pony thesis scene, which is pretty great. And I think that's going to play up quite a bit in the next season. In fact, there might even be some jealousy between Susie and Erica, because when Susie heard Erica on the microphone, she was like, who was that? And he's like, oh, it's interference, right? I think that's going to be a thing. But yeah, I think the only way for them to bring back everyone to Hawkins for one final go is to crack open the gate, go into the Upside Down. And this time it's going to probably be everybody in the Upside Down, not just Joyce and Hopper or Joyce and 11 or whatever. I think it's going to be everybody. I think all the kids are going to make their way into the Upside Down finally, and they're going to be able to do that together in order to save Hop and then to close it for good, to seal it off. And I have a feeling there's probably going to end up being a sacrifice. I don't foresee there being a happy ending for 11. If I'm being honest here, there's going to always have to be a sacrifice at the end there. And I think that in this case, it's going to probably end up being 11, because Hopper in this case was kind of given the sacrificial moment, but we know he's not really dead. And I think 11 is probably going to end up sacrificing herself for Mike and Hopper and everybody. I think the final battle is going to be between her and that Demigorgon, although now her powers are insane. She can put people through walls and they get back up and keep on walking, as we saw with Billy. And I mean, maybe they'll find a way to bring Billy back, because it didn't say at the end. This is weird. I noticed this during the cutting edge little news snippet at the end of the season. They showed Hopper died. Police chief died in this as well, but they didn't show anything about Billy being dead. And I mean, I'm sure Billy's dead. He can't really survive what he went through to come out alive on the other side. He's probably dead, and with good reason. He sacrificed himself, which I felt was fine. But I still wouldn't be surprised at this point if they find a way to bring Dacre Montgomery back, because he did a great job in the role, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of him. But maybe he's also kind of lived up to his usefulness. So yeah, there's a lot there in the season. I think season 4 is going to be a wild ride. I'm hoping that it's as tight and as compact and as just nonstop as this season was, simply because I feel like that was maybe one of the bigger problems of season 2 was they had a story, but they put some filler in there. There was barely any filler in this. And if they keep that flow going for the next and final season, and we have some really awesome character moments, it's going to be, I think, as watched and as talked about as Game of Thrones. So I am curious to know your thoughts, your opinions. What are your theories for season 4 of Stranger Things? Let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Please thumbs up the video and subscribe if you're new, and peace out.